Well, in the review of the last game, it was a big point of emphasis for us all week long to get tremendous focus on execution in the game. Right tool, right time, uh, do it the right way. And when you look at the film, there were too many occasions where we didn't get it exactly right. We have to refocus on what it takes to mastering our position, individually and collectively. We made some mistakes up front on the offensive line that created pressure, and an inability to run the ball effectively as we could have had we executed properly. We turned the ball over, which has been a little uncharacteristic for us, and the defense gave up big plays, several of which were big-time mental errors. So, the reality check of it all is, where do you want to go from here? And I think the real glory is sometimes when you get knocked down is your ability to get up, the ability to overcome adversity, and that's a true test of character. So when you play good teams and you don't do things right, you get exposed. And I think the emphasis needs to be on teaching and doing a good job in technique. Now, we're responsible as coaches to be those teachers and to be good teachers, and that's certainly what we need to do to try to help our team, get better. Julio Jones was the offensive player. Josh Chapman and Dante Hightower did a really good job on defense, and Marquise Mays and John Fulton had good games on special teams. I know you already have that information. From an injury standpoint, I think we have 3 guys that will be day-to-day this week that we will probably not work today. Trent Richardson, Kerry Murphy, and Chris Jordan. But those guys are day-to-day, and we're not sure how they'll respond through the course of the week, so I really can't comment on that. Mississippi State has a very good team. Dan Mullen has done an exceptionally good job there. You all know their record. They're 7-2, and they've lost to 2 teams that are both in the top 10 in very close games. So this is a good team. They run the ball extremely well on offense. They control the ball. Their defense has played really well this year. They're athletic. They can rush up front, and they play hard, and they play with a lot of conviction all year long. So we still need to stay focused on what we need to do as a team to play better, to get better, to play with the kind of intensity that we need to play with to be able to execute what we need to do to have success. And I know that everybody's looking for some dynamic way, and you're going to ask me how you're going to do this and how you're going to do that. I'm already giving you that answer. All right, that's the answer. That's the answer to the question right there. All right, is now, players have to have the right attitude about doing it. They have to respond the right way, and we have to do a good job as coaches to teach them what they need to do so that they can have more success.
Coach, you had a quote the other night, and if you'll let me, I'll paraphrase it, but it said the whole year everyone around us has been very concerned about the results in comparison to what was achieved a year ago. Maybe that's not the best thing for the development of this team, and you said the team didn't develop into the best team possible because of that. I'm wondering, do you attribute the bulk of the mistakes this season and Saturday to that, what you talked about in the quote, or you've been an experience?
I'm talking about a mindset, which is a process of what you need to do to improve and get better. Kristen had a hard time understanding that one too. So, I understand I didn't do a very good job of articulating. When your daughter questions you on what you said, you didn't do a very good job of articulating. Not that she doesn't question me about a lot of things sometimes, especially when it's what time she needs to get home at night. But really what I'm talking about is when you become so result-oriented, you lose the focus on the process of what it takes for you to improve and get better and play your best. And I think the whole idea is I've always talked about becoming the best team that we can be, become the best player that you can be, develop into the best for personal reasons, the best player you can be. And for team reasons, develop into the best player that you can be. And you're always playing to a standard. You're not just playing to win the game. And that's basically what I meant by that. And I think that because of the circumstance, we may have lost sight of that. Now, that's not the reason we haven't developed. And if we'd have won the game by 3 points, everybody would think we developed just fine. And we certainly had our opportunities to do it. But we didn't make the plays that we needed to make in critical times in the game. They did, and that's why you play the games. So we need to do a better job as coaches, as teachers, and the players need to do a better job of focusing on execution, not only when the game comes, but every day in practice and everything that they do in terms of the kind of people they are, the things that they do to prepare to play the game, whether it's how you practice, how you eat all week, how you rest, all the personal habits that can help you perform. All those things are important to performing. So I think I was just trying to focus on the process of what it takes to be the best that you can be, rather than just getting the result. You know, I know it's my responsibility to get the results, and I take those, but I feel like you get the results by being the best you can be. I feel like you get the results by doing the things you need to take advantage to dominate the opponent that you play against, whether it's your effort, your toughness, your discipline to execute, all the things that we talk about all the time. So if you lose sight of that, then you're not going to be as good as you can be. And that's one thing that, you know, I've been harping on with this team all year long, to develop that sense of a standard that we're all going to play to, and the intensity and toughness and focus that you need to do it.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the improvement that Mississippi State's made this season, being 5-7 a year ago, now 7-2. Does this look like the most improved team in the league to you?
Well, this is one of the best teams that we've played in our league, you know, this year. I guess if you're making comparisons, you could very easily say they have improved a lot. But I thought they had a pretty good team last year. Anytime you're there for the first time, first year, you know, players make a lot of progress between what's expected of them, and I think this team has certainly made a lot of progress in a lot of areas. You know, they have made a lot of improvement. They've done a good job with their players, and they play with a lot of discipline and do the things you need to do to play winning football almost all the time. And this is a very, very good football team.
Coach, can you comment on how well Chance Wormack has done on the offensive line this year, and also how much he's improved from last year to this year?
Right. Well, he's done an excellent job for us all year long. I think that being a player who maybe doesn't have some of the experience that the other players have, sometimes in some of the games that we've played that have been critical games, maybe there's a few more mental errors there, but I think that's a part of maturing. I think that's a part of growing up. But he has played extremely well. He's a very physical player. He works hard, really plays with a lot of toughness, and has done an extremely good job for us all season long.
Coach, when you play a team like Mississippi State with a quarterback system that's not like one you run here, how difficult is that for the scout team to master that?
Well, we've seen a lot of that this year, you know, where we've had to try to use someone else to be the quarterback, to do the quarterback runs, and we'll continue to do that this week. Blake Sims, who was a high school quarterback who did a lot of these same kind of plays in high school, has been the guy that's done that. You know, Phillip does a good job of it too, because he's very athletic and big and strong. So we've got a decent picture of it in the past when we've needed to.
A couple questions. One, Vic Ballard has gotten a ton of attention this year, but he's just found a way to score touchdowns. What's he done well for their running game?
I didn't hear.
Vic Ballard, running back.
Oh, I had a lot of respect for Dixon last year, in terms of being a big, strong, physical back. And, you know, I'm saying to myself, I'm glad that guy's gone. But, you know, the guys they have carrying it this year have really good ability, probably a little more speed, a little more explosiveness, and, you know, they're in a lot of what you would call three-back runs, and they do a great job of executing a lot of gap blocking, and their backs have done a really good job, and he's been their most productive guy.
And a different subject, if I could you talk? We always ask you all about the titles, all the things that are still out there for you, and obviously 7-2, it's still a good season. But do you worry about how your team's going to react when there's not an SEC or a national title that's necessarily out
Well, I guess there are some scenarios and some possibilities that, you know, we could, you know, do something. But I think this is all about how you want to finish the season, what you can accomplish as a team. There's a lot out there that this team can accomplish, and how you respond to adversity. And I think that, you know, we're probably going to play 4 more games regardless, and, you know, that's a quarter of a season. There's a lot of improvement and a lot of things that can be done and accomplished relative to the results that this team can get, which obviously is what you're asking me about. But am I concerned that this team has the pride and performance to do that? I think it's a reality check for them to see how important it is to you. What are you willing to do to make it happen? I know as a coaching staff, we're very committed to doing the things we need to do to try to make that happen, and we'll work very hard, you know, starting today, you know, trying to make that happen. And I know there are some individual players on our team that are excited about trying to do that as well. But it's going to be a combination of the chemistry and the leadership and the individual commitment to make this season something that this 2010 team can be remembered for.
I also have 2 real quick ones. Coach, again, DeQuan Minzy just wasn't able to get out there again this week. What's the long-term
He could have played. He was healthy. He could have played. He warmed up. He could have played. He practiced all week, and we'll probably play him a little bit more in this game. In fact, you know, he may end up starting in this game, but he was capable of playing the last game as well. So he has no physical problems.
Okay. And against LSU, Julio had 10 catches and a run, you know, 11 offensive touches. So is it hard to get much more than that to a wide receiver? I mean, is that about as involved as he can be in the offense?
Well, I think in the last 2 games he's been very, very productive for us. And obviously the more explosive plays that we can make on offense, and he's one of the guys that can make them, but I think we have some other guys that are very capable of making them, and I think we want to see all those guys contribute in a positive way to making explosive plays, and we want to continue to be able to get Julio the ball because he is an outstanding player, but I think we want our entire offense and all the skilled players that we have to complement one another, because there are other guys there that can make explosive plays as well, and we want to utilize those things to be a team that's difficult to defend.
How would you rate the leadership on this team at this stage? Has it been what it needs to be?
Well, I think that when you have a young team, which we have a young team, only 8 or 9 seniors on the team, that sometimes it's a little more difficult to get the younger players to assume the responsibility of leadership. But we have had some good leadership on this team. I think it's something that we need to continue to develop and grow so that, you know, we can continue to get better. And I think that's going to be an important part of how the team responds, and the true test of the leadership will be about how the team responds. Because I think the leadership is most effective when things aren't going well. That's when it makes the biggest difference.
And what kind of questions are you asking yourself right now? Just, you're saying.
What kind of questions am I asking myself? What I've been asking myself for 2 days is how are we going to stop Mississippi State from running the ball? How are we going to move the ball against them? You know,